Hi there, this is Danielle Dunlop for Possum Stamps, and today I'm going to create a spring card for you with some extra dimension created with an easel fold. So to start, I have my usual Nina cardstock, and I'm going to need the full length of this cardstock, and I'm going to trim this piece halfway, so we have 4¼ inch width, and that's just the normal size of an A2. So I'm going to have a card that's going to be portrait, and the width has to be, to fit it in the envelope, the same as a usual A2 card. And I'm making my first crease here at the usual length, which is 5½ inches. And then my next fold is going to be halfway one of these sides. So it's going to be at 2¾ inches. And I'm going to fold that into the opposite direction. You can already tell this is not going to be your usual easel card, because there's no way this is going to stand straight up the way I folded this way. But I just wanted this fold just to create some extra interest and some extra dimension to my card. The images for my spring card are going to be from the stamp set Spring Day, which is one of my very favorite Possum Stamps stamp sets. Not just my favorite spring set, but just in general. Somehow I like to keep going back to this stamp set. So I picked my images. It's going to be the card, the two bunnies, the clouds, the sun, the water planter, and some butterflies. And once I have my images stamped, I have them die cut and placed on some non-tacky tape to make coloring a little easier. And I'm starting here with my bunnies, and my favorites for the bunnies is E41, E42, E43, and E44. And I'm using the darker 3 for the bodies of the bunnies, and I use the lighter 2 markers for the little tail. For the inside of the ears, I'm using RV000 and RV10. And I also use the RV10 for some cheeks on the bunny that's facing forward. The 2 clouds are going to be a very light blue. I'm using 3 markers, B quadruple 0, B triple 0, and B double 0. And I'm just putting down 1 layer of each of these colors, and starting with the darkest at the bottoms, and then blend it out to the top, so it's very light at the top of these clouds. My sun is obviously going to be yellow, but to create some more dimension in there, I wanted to have a hint of orange in there, and Y17 is a perfect color for that. And for my lighter yellows, I'm using E15 and E11. Then for the water planter, I wanted it to be a purplish gray, and I used BV23 and BV31. Now we're moving on to the flower stand, and I'm using R89 and R85 for some of the stripes on there. And then I'm using the larger version of these colors, the R83 and R81, for the other stripes. And I did that for the top of the flower stand as well as the bottom stripes. I like to keep the colors on the flower stand pretty simple, so everything else on the flower stand is going to be brown, like it's wooden. And I used E53 and E55 for that. And besides those poles on the flower stand, I also did the flower crate in those same colors. One of the butterflies is going to be a light red pinkish color with R35 and R32. And I also did the 2 tulips in the flower stand in the same color. The other butterfly is going to be purple, and I used V01 and V12 for that. Next, I'm going to work on my scenery in the background of my card. And I'm using the Clouds for Days background stencil from Possum Stems. And I'm going to put that down all the way on the back layer of my card. And I know I have clouds for stamped images as well, but I didn't want the background layer to be plain. So we're going to have those bigger clouds here in the background, and then the stamped and die cut clouds are going to go somewhere on top of that. The front layer of my card is going to be a beach. For this type of card, you could also make it grass. It actually works pretty well too, but I decided to go for a beach, and I used Distress Oxide tea dye for my sand color. And I'm going to cover up this whole front fold. To make it look a little more beachy, I'm going to add some splatters, and I'm using Distress Oxide Ground Espresso for it. Just make sure you have the rest of your card covered up. I used my flour sack cloth for it. And I'm drying this in between, and then I'm going to add a couple more splatters. It looks a little more like a beach this way. Now I'm going to add my sentiment, and I'm using Let Your Joy Bloom Like Flowers in Spring from this Spring Day stamp set. And it's going to be at the bottom of that front layer of my card. Like I mentioned before, this is not just an easel card that's just going to stand up with an easel fold. I just wanted the fold to create the depth in my card. So that's why I'm adding some foam squares. So it's going to be all stuck together. Because the way this one is folded, it's not going to stand up. It's just for the extra three-dimensional effect. You can glue down that front layer if you want to. I just decided to add some more foam squares there, so you have a little extra depth in your card there. I laid down a couple of my images already, just to see how my scene was going to turn out. Now I'm going to glue down the two clouds and the sun, which is going to peek from underneath one of those clouds. I already put two foam squares at the top part of the flower stand, because that part is going to rest on the last layer of my card, so you need that extra foam there as well. And then the bottom of the card, you can just put glue on it. Then I'm going to add my two butterflies. The one you can see from the side is going there underneath that cloud, and the one facing the front is going to be tucked in there so you can see it through the flower stand. The two bunnies are going to sit next to the flower stand, and I just love that one that is facing backwards. I'm imagining that's like the mischievous bunny who doesn't want to look at the camera. And then last but not least, we have the water planter, and that's going to be in front of the flower stand. I did not like that white open space that you can see through the wheel, so I'm continuing the beach coloring with E53, and then I'm adding some dots with E57. So here's my finished card. I hope you enjoyed watching this card come together. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye bye.